Right, a little exercise to help you start to create bass lines. We're going to look at this creating walking bass lines, and we're looking at it in the context of Satin Doll, jazz standard by Duke Ellington. Okay, and we're going to try and create a walking bass line. So when a bass player is playing a walking bass line, what he's doing is outlining the harmony. So he's playing the chords just like the piano player would be playing the chords. So we're playing like D minor 7, G7, D minor 7, G7 in the context of this tune, obviously. E minor 7, A7, E minor 7, A7. Okay, so the bass player is basically doing that, but he's not just playing D minor 7, you know, arpeggio, G7, D minor 6, you know. So what he's doing is playing a lot of root notes, very often hitting the root note as the, you know, when the chord arrives. So if we've got a bar of D minor 7 to G7, you know, he might well play D and then another note to take him to the G and then play the G. Okay, so one really useful trick, the bass player can do all kinds of things to achieve this, but one really useful trick and a good way to get into it is to play chromatic passing notes. So we're going to go in this first bar, we've got 2 beats of D minor 7, 2 beats of G dominant 7, and then the next bar is the same. Alright, so we've got D minor 7, then a chromatic passing note to take us to G. So that could be either F sharp or A flat. We'll go with F sharp. Now we're playing G, and we want a chromatic passing note to take us to D. And we can go back to this D here. We can go to this D here. Let's go to this D here. Okay, and this time we'll go to chromatic note above. Then we're going back to G, G dominant. Let's go for chromatic underneath this time. Okay, so if I just go through the first few bars, so we've got D minor 7, chromatic, G dominant 7, chromatic, D minor 7, chromatic, G dominant 7, chromatic, E minor 7, chromatic, A7. Can go right down here, chromatic, E minor 7, chromatic, A dominant 7. Now we're staying on A root note because the next chord is A minor. So we just play chromatic note. Could be either A flat or B flat. A minor 7, D7, chromatic to A flat minor 7, chromatic to D flat major 7, chromatic to take us to C major 7. Now we've got a whole bar of C major 7. Yeah, we've got a whole bar of C major 7, and then we're going to the turnaround to take us back to the top. So we've got a bar of C major 7, then half a bar of E minor 7, half a bar of A7, and then we're back at the top. So from that C major 7, we're going to play, because we've got 4 notes to fill in the bar, we're going to fill it out with chord tones. So when you've only got 1 chord in a bar, you can play root note, chord tone, and then a chromatic note to get you to the next chord, the first chord of the next bar, which is E minor. So chromatic, E minor, chromatic, A dominant 7. Now we're back at the top, chromatic, D minor 7. Okay, so the rule is, but it's not a rule really for making up bass lines, but it's a rule for this exercise which will help to get you into it. So the rule is, when you've got 2 chords in a bar, play root note, chromatic, root note, chromatic. When you've got 1 chord in a bar, play root note, chord tone, chromatic. Okay, good luck with that.